Thiago Motta's football has arrived. Now, let's hope I can say this on the weekend. And let's hope I can keep saying this. But the Coppa Italia, Juventus 4, Cagliari 0. Now, of course, the opposition, they're in the bottom half. They're in the bottom 3, fighting relegation. This is a game that Juventus should have won comfortably, and they did. But I said Juventus should have beaten Venezia comfortably, and they needed a last-minute penalty to secure a 2-2 draw. This performance is a performance that I feel like everybody at Juventus, internally, externally, needed. Thiago Motta needed it. Thiago Motta needed this performance so much more than people think. Thiago Motta has had the luxury to invest money in this Juve squad, to make new signings, to sign top players. The fans are looking at him and they've put expectations. They're expecting good football. They're expecting results. They're expecting to see the Juventus of old. Dominant, assertive, penetrative. Those are the 3 words to describe that Juve performance today. The fans deserved and needed this performance today. And on top of everything, the players were confronted at the end of the Venezia game. The players were probably looking at themselves and thinking, come on, we're better than this. We shouldn't be drawing 2-2. But today, it was a game where Juve dominated the ball. They dominated possession. They played the majority of their football in the opposition half. They created chances. They had shots on goal. But the thing that caught my eye the most was I saw fire in some of these Juventus players' bellies. They looked motivated. They looked hungry. Every single one of them went out there with their own personal objective, their own personal mission, their own personal feud. And they wanted to defy the odds. They wanted to prove their critics wrong. Now, before we touch on the whole game, if you're new, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to hit the like. Make sure to let me know what you think in the comments. Let's get into it. Now, Motta rotated when it came to the starting 11. I feel like he tried players in different positions. The first one that stood out to me was Locatelli. Locatelli playing as a centre half. Having that responsibility to progress play, to get the ball to the attacking players, to the midfielders in the right space, at the right time, being able to command his backline. And personally, I feel like Manuel Locatelli had an amazing game. I think he's having an amazing season. Kenan Yildiz playing in the centre, being that architect in the final third. Coop Miners dropping a little bit deeper. I felt like this is where Coop Miners was most comfortable, helping the team progress the ball, but having that license to make those darting runs in behind, to be a player that can ghost in with the third man runs. This is where you get the best out of Coop Miners. Kenan in the centre, the mobility, the low centre of gravity, the ability to take the ball on the half turn and progress. On top of that, he's more mobile. He's a better ball carrier in those central areas. But there was a lot of rotation. There were a lot of players utilised in different areas. But when you look at the game, the first half, it was a little bit slow. It was a little bit dull. At times, it was short on ideas. But this is where Dusan Vlahovic stepped up in the dying minutes of the first half. Now, this goal, this is a lovely goal. And I'll be honest with you, Dusan has always been a player that I like. I'm a massive fan of him. But he's always been a player that's come under heavy criticism. He's a player that was receiving death threats after the game against Venezia. He went out there today. You could see he's motivated. You could see he was annoyed. He was pissed off. He was angry. He was pressing relentlessly. He was tenacious. He was aggressive in the tackle. He was tracking back. He scored 3 goals. 2 of them were offside. But listen, the one when he went through and chipped the keeper, that was a lovely goal. But let's just look at the goal. Kenan, once again, as always, involved. It's a lovely pass. You could see Kenan is on the left-hand side. He brings the attention to himself. He sucks the opposition players in. Then he waits for the right moment to find Dusan one-on-one with the Cagliari centre-half. Now, this is where Dusan, you could see he uses his experience. He uses his body. He uses his understanding of playing as a forward, where he holds off the centre-half. He holds off. He gets himself that half yard. He generates that space. And I'll be honest with you guys. Like, the way he maneuvered his body, the way he managed to get a shot into the far corner, into the side netting, it speaks volumes on the player Dusan Vlahovic. And I've always said, Feed him the ball in those dangerous areas, and he is one of the most penetrative strikers in the world. But it's a lovely goal. I feel like in the second half, the floodgates opened. Why? Because it's knockout football. It's a game where the opposition knew we can't sit back and take defeat or try and nick a draw. No, if you lose, you're knocked out of the Coppa Italia. It forced Cagliari to maybe push a few more bodies forward. And I feel like Conceição, for me, this was his best performance in a Juventus shirt. He ran circles around the opposition like he was a threat from minute 1 to minute 90, and he constantly beat them, constantly beat his man, constantly cut in and shot, put in the crosses. He was a nightmare. But the second goal was a free kick from Coop Miners. Now, Coop Miners has shown he can score free kicks at Atalanta, but he hasn't shown that quality that Juventus fans saw in an Atalanta shot. But you see this? This isn't a normal free kick. This is roughly 30, 32, 33, 34, 35 yards out from goal. When I was watching this, I was like, there's no way he shoots. Left foot over the wall to beat the keeper. It's a ridiculous strike. And I feel like as a player that's come from Atalanta, and the whole world has seen what he done under Gasperini and Atalanta, the price tag, the expectations, the weight of that Juventus shirt, I feel like he needed that goal more than anything. And finally, Juventus wrapped up their victory with their 2 signings. Conceição, he deserved his goal. Conceição, it's a very similar goal to the goal he scored against RB Leipzig in the Champions League, where he received the ball out wide. The little shimmy, the manoeuvring of the body, creating that half yard and having a strike on goal. But Conceição deserves that goal. He was a menace the whole game. But the goal for me, that was amazing. Like, imagine we saw a Dusan Vlahovic goal, which in my opinion was lovely because it showcases his ability as a number 9. To receive the ball with his back to goal, to turn, create the half yard, poke your foot and get the ball into the far corner. It was a lovely goal. Then you see a Coop Miners goal from a set piece. This Nico Gonzalez goal for me was amazing. Like, this was a goal that literally had me screaming. He receives the ball in the Juventus half. He's all alone. The game is done. But he receives the ball in his own half. He's got no teammate. He's got no overlapping, underlapping. He's got no teammate around him that he can pass and go with. No, he knew this is all me. And he is one player that I feel like owed this to the fans. He owed this to the fans, to his teammates, to Motta. When Juventus signed him, he gave them 2-3 games and then he was injured. A 2-week injury turned into 4 weeks. A 4-week injury turned into 6 weeks. 6 weeks, 8 weeks. Next week, you know, he was out for 2-3 months. He needed this performance for confidence. The fans needed it, but it was a lovely goal to pick up the ball in your own half and carry. He carried this ball roughly 60, 70 yards all alone. But then the thing I love about it the most is that composure in the final third. Like, so many times you see players, they panic. They just have a shot. They swing their foot. The carry. And you know you're getting chased. You know you've got 3-4 players chasing you down. No, he carried. Lifted his head up. Saw the keeper off his line. But now, whilst running at full speed to dink the keeper, it's a lovely goal. Nico Gonzalez is a quality player from his Fiorentina days, but he just hasn't been available. But what this showed is when he came onto the pitch, you saw dynamism in a central area. You saw a player that can rotate with Dusan Vlahovic, lead the line, run the channels. This is what Juventus needed. They needed to get players that can score goals all over the pitch. And at times, there's been that reliance on Dusan to score the goals. But now, you can see Conceição can chip in. Nico Gonzalez can chip in. Vlahovic will score goals. Coop Miners has shown throughout his career he can chip in. On top of that, you've got Kenan Yildiz. This is what Juventus have needed. And this is what Juventus have missed. And there's a reason why they've drawn 10 games in the Serie A. But I feel like now, with all of their best players back, firing, full of confidence, maybe Juventus can have a better second half to the season. Now, if you're new, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to hit the like. Make sure to let me know what you think in the comments.